Returning from my venture into the heart of decadent luxury known as the Gold Coast felt like waking from a dream. A week-long odyssey of beaches, booze, and beautiful women that I would never be able to touch without a rag of chloroform and some cable ties gone in an instant, leaving me with only blurred memories and several suspicious police officers requesting a DNA sample. But what made the crushing weight of reality slamming into me like a cartoon anvil dropped off a cliff really hurt was my reconnecting with the depressing, aggravating, mind-melting world of news and politics. You see, for a glorious 7 days I had no internet, and the only media I consumed were old movies and reruns of Law and Order. As I waited for the clock to strike midnight and herald in 2016, I sat on a beach surrounded by people I didn't know, watching seagulls flutter in the sky and party girls twirling glow sticks while drugged out of their goddamn minds. When that was happening, I wasn't thinking about the crisis in Syria, the ongoing cockfight that is the American election cycle, or the troubling trend of censorship in college campuses. I just enjoyed the fireworks. But now it's time to put the nose back on the old grindstone. Due to the week of isolation, I missed out on talking about some stories that were brewing before I left and finally hit during my absence. So let's face this new year together in what I think is the most appropriate way. Arse first with eyes half focused on the crap we just got done with. Oh yes, that is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange eons even Hillary Clinton has a chance of becoming President of the United States. After being vanquished by the false prophet of hope in 2008, the beast known to occultists as Hilldog retreated to the nightmare corp city of New York to lick her wounds, but now she returns as the frontrunner of the Democrats, bearing what many who follow politics see as an impenetrable shield, women's issues. In September 2014, Hillary released an online video in which she insisted Americans should reflexively side with young women on college campuses who accuse male students of sexual assault. She stated, "You have a right to be heard, you have a right to be believed, don't let anyone silence your voice." This video was addressed to every survivor of sexual assault. During the October 13 Democratic debate in Las Vegas, Clinton wielded the sexist label against her opponent Bernie Sanders. During the debate on the topic of gun laws, Sanders stated, "All the shouting in the world is not going to do what I would hope all of us want, and that is keep guns out of the hands of people who should not have those guns and end this horrible violence." Sounds harmless, right? Well, just give it a bit. In a speech on October 23 at the Democratic National Committee Women's Leadership Forum, Hillary manipulated those words to suit her agenda. During the speech, she stated, "I've been told to stop, and I quote, shouting about gun violence." Well, first of all, I'm not shouting. It's just that when women talk, some people think we're shouting. All over her social media, the quote, "When women talk, some people think we're shouting" appeared. And the next day at a Democratic event in Des Moines, Iowa, she repeated the same line. Hillary pushed the idea of herself as a champion for the rights of women even more with several television ads, such as this one of Sarah. Each ad featured a woman facing economic disadvantages, and ended with the implication that Hillary will lead the fight to make things better. But you know what they say, one wrong step in the woods and you're caught in a bear trap bleeding out with nobody to save you. And Hillary's wrong step was going after Donald goddamn Trump, who had just finished sending the former favorite for the Republican nomination, Jeb Bush, into a spiral of failure that will no doubt end with suicide. During a December 22 interview with the Des Moines Register in Iowa, Hillary accused Trump of, and say it with me now, being sexist, stating, "I think he has to answer for what he says, and I assume that others will make the larger point about his language. It's not the first time he's demonstrated a penchant for sexism." Trump replied on Twitter, "Be careful, Hillary, as you play the war on women, or women being degraded card," following it with, "Hillary, when you complain about a penchant for sexism, who are you referring to? I have great respect for women. Be careful." We didn't have long to wait for Trump to turn the heat up and turn his vague warning into a sucker punch right to the face, when on December 28 he stated on Twitter, "If Hillary thinks she can unleash her husband, with his terrible record of women abuse, while playing the women's card on me, she's wrong." You can say a lot about Donald Trump, but nobody can deny his ability to play the political media as anything short of spectacular. Both left and right-wing pundits reacted to this newest bombshell with disbelief. See, the Clintons are a very powerful, very well-connected political family, and if you cross them you'll likely end up dead. But Trump is that brilliant combination of fearless and rich that means he just doesn't give a damn. Trump's latest play has been both embraced and decried. During an interview on Meet the Press, Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who had previously called on San Diego Mayor Bob Filner to resign after former supporters of the mayor went public with accusations of sexual harassment, stated that anyone bringing up Bill Clinton's history does so to their peril, defending Bill as one of the most admired elected officials and former elected officials and men in the world. Yes, the same woman who called for Filner to resign over accusations of sexual harassment just defended Bill fucking Clinton. On the other end of the spectrum, Breitbart, also known as Milo the Glorious Faggot and his band of merry men, lauded Trump's plan to schlong Hillary just as Bill schlonked all those White House interns. In a December 30 article, John Nolte wrote, "Clinton and her DC media have repeatedly attacked Republican frontrunner Donald Trump as sexist. Rather than do what the Republican establishment always does when faced with this kind of attack, crumple into a small ball and go to their special place until the election is lost, by honing in on Bill Clinton's sordid sexist past, Trump has had Hillary and her media on defense all week. As a result, all week the DC media has been forced to relitigate Bill's piggish behavior. and for the first time, litigate Hillary's role in abusing these women over what they claim is a second round of abuse, after Madam Secretary launched campaigns of personal destruction to silence them. But Jester, I hear you shout, surely you can't blame Hillary Clinton for the actions of her husband. That sounds an awful lot like guilt by association. Well, you're right. If this was just a question of Bill going balls deep in snatches that are not attached to his wife, I wouldn't give a damn. But Hillary Clinton is not an innocent wife in this, and I'm just a sucker for watching someone hoist by their own petard. Before we really dig into this, let me just hang up a big allegedly banner. While Slick Willie has been taken to court before for a lawsuit, we should remember that was settled out of court. We can all speculate why he's avoided charges. Cough, nobody has the balls to touch the Clintons. Insincere cough. But nobody has. And as of writing, old Bill has been accused of 9 counts of rape and sexual harassment. In this video, we'll be talking about 3 of them. First up is Juanita Broderick, who accused Bill Clinton of raping her during his 1978 gubernatorial bid in Arkansas. During an interview with Aaron Klein on his radio show, Broderick recalled attending a private Clinton fundraiser at the home of a supporter after the rape, where she says she was directly warned by Hillary. On the show, Broderick stated, "And," Hillary said, "I just want you to know how much Bill and I appreciate the things you do for him." And I just stood there, Aaron. I was sort of, you might say, shell-shocked. And then Hillary said, "Do you understand? Everything you do." She tried to take a hold of my hand and I left. I told the girls I can't take this, I'm leaving, so I immediately left. Juanita followed this with, "What really went through my mind at the time is, she knows, she knew, she's covering it up, and she expects me to do the very same thing." Kathleen Willey was a White House volunteer during Bill Clinton's first term, when she was allegedly sexually harassed by the then president. During her own interview with Klein, she stated that Hillary Clinton led a smear campaign against her, Monica Lewinsky, Paula Jones, and Jennifer Flowers after they all came forward. She put it all into motion. She was the lead person on that. She was the one in charge of the bimbo eruptions. She followed it with, "Bimbo eruption came out of Hillary's mouth, and Betsy Wright's mouth, and she called Monica a narcissistic Looney Tune, and she called Paula, if you drag $100 to the trailer park, and she called Jennifer Flowers a slut, on and on and on. So who's calling women names?" Willie then asked, at the Democratic debate, who was going to ask the questions about Hillary Clinton and her war on women. Who was going to come up and ask her about the things she did to the women that had unfortunately crossed paths with her husband. Finally, we have Paula Jones, who took Bill Clinton to court for sexual harassment after he waved his dick in her face and told her to kiss it. The case was eventually settled out of court for $850,000. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Paula stated, "There is no way that she, Hillary, did not know what was going on, that women were being abused and accosted by her husband. She knew what was happening and just chose to ignore it. It was a political relationship and suited them both. Thankfully, some people are starting to wake up and smell the bullshit." On December 3rd, a reporter asked Hillary if her comment that all sexual assault survivors had a right to be believed meant that we should also believe Broderick, Willie, and Paula Jones. Hillary answered, "Everybody should be believed at first until they are disbelieved based on evidence." The only problem, of course, is that there is no evidence disproving any of the stories told against Slick Willie and Hillary. So shouldn't Hillary be firmly on their side? A champion for the women hurt by her husband? All of her propaganda suggests she should, but we know she stood against them. I ended this video with a direct message to any feminists who might have accidentally clicked on this while looking for the latest Lacey Green video and are considering voting for Clinton. I may think you're all as crazy as the love child of Aleister Crowley and Gary Busey on acid, but surely you have enough sense to see that Hillary Clinton is not the one you were all hoping for. When allegations of sexual misconduct emerged during Bill's 1992 presidential run, Hillary is reported to have said, "Who is going to find out? These women are trash. Nobody's going to believe them." Multiple people have also reported that she called them sluts and whores for daring to wind up in old Bill's crosshairs. A private investigator named Evan Duda claims that in 1982 during Bill's race for governor, Hillary told him, "I want you to get rid of all these bitches he's, Bill, seen. I want you to give me the names and addresses and phone numbers, and we can get them under control." Damn, that's so progressive. Lena Dunham is applauding him between bouts of molesting her sister. You want a woman as president. You want to reach that goal so badly. I understand that. I'm a part of the struggle to get a diverse American leader as well. I want Vern Troyer as POTUS because I find midgets hilarious and I believe it's about time Rand Paul got someone to dress up as an Oompa Loompa with. But are you willing to elect a monster like this just to tick first female president off your bucket list? Is it really worth throwing your principles away?